Last year, there was an update from the Fasb that was more or less forgotten about until this month. Today, I'll be going through a thread from James Lavish talking about this rule change and why it matters so much for Bitcoin. This thread, posted on November 14th, 2022 on Twitter, when it was still Twitter, is by James Lavish. He says, "The latest Fasb ruling will be a pretty big deal for Bitcoin. But what's Fasb and why should you care?" Now, a little shy of a year ago, this ruling came out and it was talked about. I sat and watched that presentation where there was, 10, 12 people on screen, all going through this ruling, what they thought it meant, what they thought they should do. Well, this ruling is back in the news, and starting, I think, as soon as now, companies can adopt these new standards if they want to. But come December 2025, they won't have an option. This will be how you do the accounting. This is giving people plenty of time to figure things out, but if they've got it figured out already and they've been waiting for this change, now is the time to make a move. James starts out by saying, "Accounting is boring. Fasb, bleh, puke face. Normally, yes, but not this time. The latest Fasb vote opens the door for companies to buy and hold Bitcoin in corporate treasuries without balance sheet penalties." The TLDR from this goofy hodl sapien here is that before this ruling went into effect, before you could use this ruling, if you bought Bitcoin at, let's say, 50,000, and then it dropped all the way down to 15,000, you had to report those losses. So it would look like your company wasn't doing all that well. Oh, you've got these assets on your balance sheet, it's part of your treasury. Well, you made some poor financial decisions, thus the entire value of your company has gone down. Why would any company do that? Why would you do that? Well, you might do that if you're an absolute Chad by the name of Michael Saylor and you don't care about that because you see exactly where Bitcoin is going down the road. But if you're anybody else and you don't understand Bitcoin as well as Saylor does, then you're probably avoiding that whole mess as far as you can tell. If you're a company of whatever size or an individual and you're looking to follow in Michael Saylor's footsteps, you want to put Bitcoin on your balance sheet, reach out to the Bitcoin Way. They will help you with setting up whatever it is that you'd like to do. If you're an individual and you're wanting to buy Bitcoin for the very first time, they can help you with that. If you want to store it securely, safely, and away from prying eyes, they can help you with that. Schedule a free 30-minute call, reach out to them, and ask them whatever questions you might have, and they will help you on your Bitcoin journey. Now, there's no reason for somebody to avoid that. Let's get a little deeper. How exactly does this affect Bitcoin and companies buying Bitcoin with their extra cash? Even if Bitcoin then trades back up, 600,000 would remain the carrying value for the company's balance sheet going forward. The only way to recognize price recovery is to sell the Bitcoin and trigger a capital gain. This is exactly what happened to MicroStrategy. Michael Saylor bought billions of dollars of Bitcoin. The price increased, and he had to hold the Bitcoin on MicroStrategy's balance sheet at the purchase price. Then, when Bitcoin fell in value, MicroStrategy had to recognize the impairment and list it as a loss. He goes on to say, with the latest ruling, and hodl sapien note here, this was written back November 14th, 2022, almost a year ago. Now, in 2023, this ruling is going into effect. We are seeing this rolling out now. He says, with this latest ruling, this issue has been eliminated for companies. Going forward, if a company buys Bitcoin, they will use a recognized exchange market value to price the asset every quarter, just like a stock, bond, or commodity that trades on a public exchange. Bitcoin goes up, it can be recognized. Bitcoin goes down, it is accounted for. Bitcoin recovers, it is recognized. And with this ruling, it is most likely that any profits or losses will then flow through to the income statement and be recognized too. Another important feature. Corporate treasuries incoming. Great. So now there will be a rush of companies ready to pour their treasury cash into Bitcoin, right? Right? Well, this accounting barrier has been removed, yes, but Fasb must still determine the timing and logistics around the new standard. Plus, there are other considerations for companies, such as tax regulations and investment risk profiles. While it is true that Bitcoin has fared well over the long term, especially when compared to many public stocks and bonds, the other truth is that it remains a volatile asset. If the past few years have taught me anything, it's that the world can become a completely unrecognizable place in many areas over the course of as little as 6 months, 12 months, a year, 2 years. So much can change so fast in so many facets of life that one day you're looking at something and then 6 months later you're going, wait a minute, how did we ever do it that way? And when you've got somebody like the Bitcoin Chad, Michael Saylor, doing something, sticking to his guns, truly understanding Bitcoin, there is unquestionably other people paying attention to this. And with all that, I'm going to come back to the thread and close it out here with what James Lavish has to say. He says, "That said, there will be more executives who recognize Bitcoin as hard money. Those who see how Bitcoin is a better long-term investment than bonds. Those who allocate a portion of their company's treasury to Bitcoin in lieu of debasing USTs or inflation-melting cash. And it is my belief that these will be the executives who outperform the rest over the long term, providing their shareholders don't remain short-sighted and focused on short-term risks only, preventing management from expanding their vision. As they say, timing is everything, and the timing of this ruling, coupled with the probability of a market recovery in the next year or so, could make some of these executives look like outright geniuses." Michael Saylor has seen something. You've seen something. Or you're seeing something. I've seen something. There's been a lot of people that are seeing something here, and there's a lot of smart people that are seeing something. British Hodl said that he knows people that are worth way more than he is. They're seeing something here. If they're all seeing something, if millionaires and billionaires are seeing something in Bitcoin, then it might be about time for you too to see something. It might be about time for you to get off zero. Get as far off zero as possible. That's just my opinion. You can do what you will, and I encourage you to do what you will. But I also encourage you to educate yourself. Subscribe to Simply Bitcoin, listen to what Nico and Opti, myself and Rustin have to say about these matters, and get off zero. And I don't mean Bitcoin, that's up to you, but I do encourage you to get off zero education, because at the very least, you'll know something that you didn't before. And knowing more about the world is always a good thing. If you're interested in safely securing your generational wealth, check out this video right there, where the Bitcoin therapist talks about SIGs, signal SIGs, multi-SIGs. It's from the Bitcoin Advisor, posted by the BTC therapist, and I go through all that there. Check it out.